Right after an 8-hour flight where I just screwed up filming the intro of me getting out of the plane, I wanted to make it easy to see wildlife on Safari Island, so I went right to the zoo. The Dublin Zoo was opened in the 1830s and sits right in Phoenix Park in beautiful Dublin. Up first was a Sumatran tiger. They are the smallest subspecies of tiger. There are only around 350 of them left in the wild on the island of Sumatra in Southeast Asia. The island's forests are being cut down to make paper, and the tigers also are getting shot by poachers. I looked through the viewing window and was excited to take my first picture of the trip. It was very important to do what we can to save this subspecies of tiger. They, like all predators, had a nice large enclosure which allowed them room to get away from people if they wanted to. This zoo, as well as a lot of other older zoos, have changed the way they present animals, from the old concrete enclosures to these newer, larger homes. Across from these tigers I could see an island full of macaques. These macaques are in serious trouble in the wild. Hopefully with support from the zoos that house them, we can soon turn their situation around in Indonesia. I walked a little more up the trail and saw one of my favorite felines, the snow leopard. Just across from them, I looked up to see the gray wolf. These are the largest of all canines, and they roam around Canada, Europe, Asia, and some spots here in the US. Researchers are still learning how the wolf pack works as a social group in captivity and in wild. I was so excited to get some pictures, I did a jig. And I went from wolf watching and transported myself to the plains of Africa. As you make the turn and open yourself up to the plains exhibit, out there you can see giraffes, zebras, the rare oryx, and some white rhinos. And across from these white rhinos were some other white rhinos. Looking through the grass, I had a flashback of being in Africa. And as I said before in my YouTube animal videos, white rhinos are my favorite subspecies of rhino. Around that turn were some chimps. Now chimps scare me, especially this little guy. And being an Irish chimp, I know he was looking for a fight. And just past the chimps were some African wild dogs, or hunting dogs as they're called. We showed up, some keepers had just tossed them some chicken. It was cool to meet some keepers there, as it allowed me a chance to chit-chat about the animal business. And what we talk about, well, if I told you, I'd have to throw you with the dogs and kill you. I really enjoy this large exhibit to see the whole pack cruising around. To me, if you're going to have an animal in captivity, it makes sense to educate the people and present it in a way that they would see it in the wild. I spent around a half hour just watching these guys. It was really cool. I moved on and got a glimpse of their old lioness. A lion in the wild could live about 12 years or so. But in captivity, since they can still get food when they're a little too slow to hunt, they can live to be about 20. And this one's 22, so wow. I could tell after no sleep, I was starting to get a little slap happy with the goats. I'm gonna take your hay, goat. I'm taking your hay. I'm taking your hay. So I quickly walked past the Asian elephants. And when I saw this little rear end take up, I thought, bottoms up. Yes, it reminded me to get a drink. After all, I was in Ireland. So I quickly paid my respects to a rock and roll legend, as this boy was indeed back in town, even though I've never been to Dublin before. Ah, the blood of Ireland, a Guinness. I was ready to have some. Well, maybe just one warm one. That was good. Blech, maybe I should stick with cold Corona Lights.
Hope you enjoyed this edition of Safari Ireland. Now, for more information on animals and the places you've seen, just read the description below the video. And as always, thanks for watching.